Hi, dance friends. My name is Alexa Lopez. I am the podcast host of the Dance Resource Podcast. Here on YouTube, I help young dancers just like you spark their dance careers. If you wanna keep up with the channel and the cool tips that we have here for a dance career, then make sure that you hit the subscribe button down below. Today we're gonna be talking about dance work-life tips. So this year has been crazy. I went from being in school, still having 2 jobs and like a side hustle, to not doing anything because of quarantine, and then I started doing the podcast and all of this that I'm doing right now, but also getting my job back, one of my jobs back, another one I was doing work remotely, and I think everything just kind of went all over the place and my schedule was so crazy, and I was working a lot with like no end. It was exhausting. So I think that something that we lack sometimes is the balance between dance and work and life, because at some point they kind of all mesh together somehow, because dance is kind of like our thing. It's like, it sounds bad, but I feel like we all identify as dancers and it just takes over our lives and it's just all over, and I feel like we need to set boundaries at some point, right? So these are some things that have helped me kind of set boundaries with myself, with my work, with dance too. So I think step number 1 is to have a planner or have a calendar. It is super obvious, but I promise you it will save your life. Right now I have this one. I kind of like these more like thinner ones, because I used to just write straight on the calendar portion. Like every month it's like you turn a page. This worked for me this year and years before that. I think I started buying calendars like these back in 2018, because that's when my schedule was going crazy, so that's when I decided that I needed one. Now I feel like I need more bigger than that, so I invested in the Passion Planner and I'm so excited. Look, so this is what it looks like. It's pink. If you haven't noticed, I love pink. Everything is pink. I haven't used it yet because this is for 2021, but I'm super excited because it has so many things. This is not sponsored, by the way. If they want to sponsor me, I'll take that. But it has a lot of stuff that I feel like are gonna be really interesting, not only for like my business side, but they also focus on personal goals and stuff like that. So I feel like it's going to be fun to kind of organize both sides of my work life, my dance life, my personal life. So if you haven't had one already, I would highly recommend just getting started with something simple as this, because what I use this for is for like everything basically, mostly for like work stuff or like projects, dance projects like that, just to kind of have myself kind of organized and lay out like a simple how my week is gonna look like, how my month is going to look like. Step number 2 is to write down all of your work schedules. Something that I started doing in my this calendar is kind of writing down everything that I knew was reoccurring. So for example, I teach Wednesdays, I teach Fridays and Saturdays. So I know that that schedule is solid. Like that's not gonna change in a few months, right? So I make sure that I put it in here so that I block out those days or times, so I don't like overbook myself, right? And also write down any miscellaneous work that you haven't scheduled yet. Like for example, if you have to do some projects online, they don't necessarily have like a set schedule. I would recommend for yourself to schedule them directly, and also schedule how many hours you're spending on it, because sometimes we give ourselves like a really big amount of time to work on things, and it's really overwhelming. So try to kind of guess how many hours you actually can work on it without going crazy. Okay, so over here I have, like back in October, I set myself some hours on a Thursday to create some content for 2 hours straight. That's like a good amount of time that I could do straight without breaks. So I did that for 2 hours, and then I did another 2 hours to create content for the academy that I am launching soon. So just go through the days and kind of set the schedule for yourself. Step number 3 is to also make sure to account for your daily life things. So make sure that you account for simple things like getting up in the morning. What time can you get up? How much time are you getting ready for the morning? Make sure you plan for your eating schedule, so your breakfast, for your lunch, for your dinner. If you have to exercise too, put it in your calendar. If you need to walk your dogs, make sure you put that in your calendar too. Other mundane things like getting gas, like going to the bank, going grocery shopping. Simple things should go in your calendar too, so that you don't have those expectations of like having a full schedule that doesn't account for your personal things. Because sometimes you get super confident that you will get a lot of stuff done, but then you forget that you also have a life that is not work, and you kind of like, I don't know, there's like a deception or something that comes with not getting things done because you had different expectations of yourself. So just remember that you also have a life, and you have to account for those stuff too. So this next thing is going to sound a little privileged because not everyone can afford to do this. So if you can, give yourself at least one day to rest. So for me, I started giving myself Sundays to completely rest, not schedule myself for anything. And this was something really hard to do because I had to set boundaries with people, tell them, no, I need Sundays for myself. For example, I used to do a lot of quinceañeras, choreographies. Scheduling rehearsals for quinceañeras was something that was really tricky, especially when the quinceañera had a really big court. So parents would always tell me, can you do Sundays, because mostly everyone is available on Sundays. And I'm like, no, I am not. I'm giving myself Sundays. I don't work on Sundays. And it's something that was super hard for me to do because I'm a person that doesn't like to say no to things, and I always want to give everyone like a good time, like I don't want to sound like mean or but I also at that time was working so much. I was in school so many hours and had a lot of things to do, to be honest, and Sundays was something that I look forward to just unwind, to just rest and not worry about anything. Like, we need that sometimes, like mentally and physically as dancers. So learning to set boundaries, to put your foot down. Of course, there's sometimes that Sundays you might have to do something because there's no other option. So yeah, that is it. Next week we're going to be talking about skills that every dancer should have professionally. So make sure that you hit the subscribe button down below so you can keep up with new videos, and especially for next week.